Yo, what's up? Yeah, I'm German. I'm German. What about you? Yo, Alexa, what's up? I'm good, I'm good. I'm feeling better. I had some rough days, but it's all good now. What about you guys? Are you good? I was watching ES this morning, and I had a nice scalp from this new week opening gap into the buy side here. I like this new week opening gap as a draw. And if you look at this candle here, on the 1 hour chart this weekend here, the 50% is just the new week opening gap low. So I like this as a draw. We don't have any news today. We're still in a ranging condition, especially on the daily chart. And the lows in here, they are they have SMT divergence with NQ, while NQ is the stronger one. So in here I had on ES, I had like 9-handle scalp. That's equivalent to like 40 handles something in NQ. So yeah, I'm still bullish. And in Q, we just ran the highs in here. We are above the new week opening gap. So I like the buy setup here. In ES, I like this one here as a draw. I got stop break even here. I should have hold it. This is the daily chart down here. You can see we're still ranging, going back into the range from this high from end of January to the beginning of February. So this swing high to the swing low, we're trading back into the 50%. Yo, Jason, what's up? Yo. A little bit of different music today, like more hard techno. Not sure if you can hear it. Maybe I have to make it a bit a little louder. Yo, good morning, good morning. why I was trading ES over NQ. The reason was because we had ES being relatively equal on the highs, and NQ did not have that, but NQ feels stronger because we have the SMP divergence on the lows down here. So in NQ, I like a draw up here for this week. That's basically back into the range inside the daily chart. I wouldn't say it's the biggest secret. It definitely helps within your bias and your direction for the day. But I mean, the same goes for Asia range. I think the biggest secret would be combining everything together. First of all, having a draw that is high probability. So equal highs or equal lows are, for my trading strategy, basically the highest probability I can have. And everything else comes after. If you combine everything, then you will have a really, really good opportunity or probability to trade towards that specific draw. And that gives you the bias. Let's see an NQ. So we are 200 handles away from that buy side. Not sure if we have already a first presentation here. No, we don't. So this busy here is from 929. All right, so let's see. So we had London Open trading down, trading into equal lows, and this weekend here. Right at the 50%, and then we had this busy. So this alone was a really great setup here. Busy coming from the wick CE, trading into sell side, trading higher, and that is why I'm still bullish and wanna see continuation towards this up here. Yeah, like DTCC can give you a very nice turning point as well. And it gives you another confluence or being more confident about the draw or the direction of the day. Yeah. Yes, so if you understand the macros correctly, it can give you a great edge. I'm looking at the 1 minute chart on NQ here, but so far it's not giving something. ES is slightly grinding higher towards the new week opening gap here. Oh, nice, Marbella. That's a nice place. Thank you, man. I have big content planned. I might be a bit lazy sometimes, but I have great videos in the pipeline. Yeah, I have the feeling that I'm probably one that can navigate through the seconds chart with confidence and explaining it beforehand. But I might guess there are some people who do the same, but probably not live or doing teachings about it. But thank you, man. Much appreciated. So ES did not give any more entries. I mean, we had a small busy here. You can see that, you can. So this one, right at the equity open. Thank you, thank you. Really much appreciated. The only thing most people get wrong is when you trade on the seconds chart, they expect you to trade every single minute. But that's not the case. Like in my trading, I only trade when I have a really clear drawn liquidity and when it's high probability. Otherwise, I'm not trading. Or the highest probability draw is already reached, and then I stop. And that doesn't mean like if you're scalping that you have to trade every single minute to, I don't know, show something for the world or something. It doesn't come to how many trades you had in the day. It doesn't come down to that. It's really on how much of a quality do you have in your trades instead of quantity, even when scalping, in my opinion. As long as you don't have a algorithm that works 24/7 and you trade manually, then 1 trade, 2 trades with the best quality you can have in a day is enough. And if you then work with compound effect, it really goes crazy. Yo, Neo, what's up? We did not have a first presentation yet in NQ and in ES. So it's pretty wiki. So that is why I'm sitting on the hands right now. I still like ES as a draw to the new week opening gap. I think that's more reachable than NQ to the buy side liquidity. Not sure if we have another new week opening gap up there. Let's see. On 4. That gives us the new week opening gap up here. So yeah, that's nice as a draw. So above the buy side liquidity, there's another new week opening gap from 4 days ago. So that's definitely high probability. From this new week opening gap all the way to the next one. Unfortunately, we did not have something on the 1 minute here where it rates the sell side liquidity and then gives the busy entry. So we are gonna wait for time and that's it. Yeah, I'm also gonna wait for time for either the macro or 10:30. So this 50% here is from the daily chart. That's the midpoint of the current dealing range. I want to do it every day. Probably not this week, but when I start the $1,000 challenge on the live account, I will stream every day, probably multiple times. Whenever I find something as high probability, I will go live and only trade the $1,000 challenge. I'm gonna have to try a crazy amount of percentages, like in terms of gains. I might try a 1K to 100K. Let's see. I go high risk as well. And then I go live every day. And it might be an AZ session. If I find something high probability and I take a trade, that I randomly go live. It might be in the AM session, it might be in the PM session. It really depends on what I expect for the session. In the past few weeks, I did trade AZ session quite often, and I feel like I can get a pretty nice trade there sometimes. So maybe 30 to 50 handles in Asia session within the macros. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I hope we can start the $1,000 challenge next week, because we are currently opening up the AMP Live account for the company. We don't want to do it with a private account. Tax reasons. Because if I end up trading at 200K or something, it would be better within the company. Yeah, Asia session in NQ, yeah. It's definitely tradable. You have a lot of nice injections there, especially on 8 p.m. where the DTCC starts, or for people who don't know about the DTCC, it's also the GMT opening price. So you have two midnights, basically. You have a midnight opening at midnight EST, and you have midnight at GMT, midnight GMT. And that's basically the start of Asia session. So 8 p.m. EST. And from both of these midnight opening prices, you can have the Utah swing, and coupled with the macro, it's going crazy sometimes. If you have a market maker model you're trading in, then that's pretty good. Okay, so ES did trade into our draw. Unfortunately, we did have a break even here. We got 10 handles, roughly 10 handles here. That's equivalent to, so like 40 handles in NQ. So 5 handles in ES is similar to 20 handles in NQ. So pretty nice scalp here, then break even. And then from there, it reached into the draw. Unfortunately, it did not trade into this busy here, more into the upper half here. It just stopped at the high. So no re-entry. But direction is correct. And I like the midpoint here for ES. No, I didn't stop using cycles and DTCC. I still use it in Forex more often. Sometimes combine it with NQ macros to get more of a idea or narrative. But NQ, I'm more focused, or indices in general, I'm more focused for like the macros, the AM session, PM session characteristics. Yeah, what's up, Just Vibes? All right, so we have a first presentation here on NQ, the smaller one, but I also watch out for the bigger one here. So ES did already trade into the draw. And interesting part about ES, if you look at the 1 hour chart real quick. First of all, we did have the sales liquidity draw down here. So there was SMT divergence. And if you look at this wick in here, why this wick? This wick is significant in this whole price action here. It's the longest wick from the lows in here. And it's within the new wick opening gap and within the CB. So we can use that and grade it. And you find your 8s in here. So that was where my base, I based my first partial on these 8s, right? So you can see the first partial was here at the 8 here. The second partial would be at the quadrant here, so the 75%. The next partial would be at the another 8, and then the final target was my draw, the new wick opening gap low, coupled with the midpoint of the wick. So this is a really high probability target and very algorithmic. And we are already coming from a new wick opening gap down here. 1 second. And the sell side here was weighted. So we had a weight on sell side into new wick opening gap, upper quadrant. Busy here, I accumulated here several times and then had a run for 10 handles in ES into the lower quadrant or into the lowest 8 and then break even here, unfortunately. I should have used my stop loss below the busy, I would say. I was looking at the lows in here as a swing low, but it was not protected. And not protected is something I teach inside the VIP group. So I should have known that this could be rated due to the fact that we do have this busy still. And the stop loss should be below that. So then it went up into my draw up here. And the 1 hour wick in here, the 50%. So the rejection here, not only the new wick opening gap low, but also the wick C. Very, very algorithmic. So protected lows and protected highs, and not protected lows and highs. I teach that inside my VIP group. It's about structure. It's more complex. It seems simple. I mean, if you understand it, it's simple, but yeah, using it live can save you sometimes. What do you mean by 3 time frame silver bullets? You mean the 3-minute time frame? I mean, silver bullet is something you could use every hour. It's not only 10 to 11. The first partial, it really depends. If I have a draw that's higher than the first partial and I qualify it as high probability, then it's only 20%. Like 20% from the entire position. But if I have this as a highest probability target and I don't have a high probability target above that, it's only a possible target but not high probability, then I take off like, yeah, 60%, sometimes 70% or 80%, really depends. So it really comes down on what targets do we have above that. Is it high probability or is it something we can expect? but it does not have to reach that to be high probability, if that makes sense. So it's not one strict rule to your first partial being 50% or something every time. I would not recommend that. If you're bullish and you're trading longs, then take off 20-30% in your first partial, and then 20-30% in another partial, and then another 30% or the rest of it in the full profit. Yeah, I use market maker models on every time frame. Do you have a time frame alignment that you follow? Yeah, kind of. I look at the PTU arrays. I look at how the order flow is going to align within the time frames. For example, here on this trade, right? I accumulated here on the 1 minute busy right before the equity open. Kind of standard, but I don't only enter here when I see order flow before that on the lower time frames, and trust it more when we have order flow on the lower time frames within this move to the upside, if that makes sense. And then because we already had a market maker buy model here, these highs already rated, but I can still trade that because we have a high probability draw up here. So I do the alignment then on the lower time frames, the 15 seconds, 5 seconds, and so on to qualify this trade. No, there are more than 3 silver bullets in the day. ICT did talk about 3 specific ones for the London Open AM session and PM session, but there are more than that. And he also talked about that inside, I don't know, it was I think a Twitter space, maybe something else. But yeah, he just had one sentence about it. Like there's a silver bullet every single 15 minutes. So 4 silver bullets every hour. So every 15 minutes you have a silver bullet. Every 15 minutes you can hunt a trade setup. It doesn't mean it's high probability, but you can hunt one. And I think that gives you way more perspective on trading on the smaller time frames, the seconds time frame. London session open silver bullet, yeah, exactly. So 3 AM to 4 AM, 10 AM to 11, and then the PM session 2 to 3. That's correct. These are probably the best silver bullets you can have and hunt for because they are within the sessions, within the kill zones, not only the sessions. And you can find a lot of movement there. Why? Because they are the sweet spot of these kill zones. So 3 to 4 is the sweet spot for London Open. 10 to 11 is the sweet spot for New York Open or the AM session in indices. And for example, the first 30 minutes of the AM session, 9:30 to 10 AM, gives you a lot of narrative. And then from 10 AM to 11 AM, you have the sweet spot. And for the PM session, it's similar thing. You have 1:30 PM to 2 PM. That's your first half hour of the session. That gives you narrative, and then from 2 PM to 3 PM you have the silver bullet. Yeah, he might talk about it in recent spaces, yeah. But I think the first time he talked about it was maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That every single 15 minutes you have a silver bullet. Every single 15 minutes you have a fair value gap you can trade off. So yeah, NQ is not giving any entries here yet. It does not show any, I mean, it shows bullish order flow within the down close candidates here, but it's not giving me my best entry setup. And you can see how ES is now rejecting from that level randomly. It was the new wick opening gap low, and it was the 50% of the 1 hour wick. And you can see my draw was here. The best condition, or the best outcome would be to trade up into the new wick opening gap midpoint. But like I said, with the partials, right? You want to take the most out of it in your highest probability draws. So for this example, it was the lower 8 from the wick. Then we had the lower quadrant. Then we had the second lowest 8. And then we had the 50% of the wick and the new wick opening gap low as a confluence. And everything combined in here makes this the highest probability. And if you're in a long setup, take everything off here and only 20-30% on the first partial, 20-30% on the second partial, and so on. If that makes sense. And don't take off 50% or 60% on the first partial, because your highest probability is not met yet. Why would you take out the whole position, or almost the whole position, in a low-hanging fruit when you have a high probability draw even higher? And that is something many people might do wrong. And I mean, taking partials is always good. It pays you. And taking more than you need as a partial is also good. It secures your trade. But for the best outcome, if you understand where the high probability trade or setup and draw is, then only take off 20-30%. Yeah, there's a first presentation also every 15 minutes, not every single hour. If you treat the same as in like seconds time frame, you can really go crazy about it, like high frequency trading. It does not mean every trade is a high probability trade. It does not mean every trade is a win. It just means you can hunt something there. And if you find the highest probability setups within every single 15 minutes, it can go really crazy. London session macros. Why are you noting like 2:33 a.m. to 3 a.m. 6:33 or 3? I mean, the macros, they are 10 minutes before an hour and 10 minutes after. So 20 minutes macros. There are more macros than that. For example, the last hour macro, the MOC macro. The post 4 p.m. macros, there are some as well. Wait, you yes. What do you mean about the 2:33 and 6:33 or 8:3? I'm only using the macros ICT gave to the community. You might not be aware of every single one, because I did watch every single minute of his content and listen to every single minute of his content. I would say I'm pretty addicted to that. And I sometimes listen to it twice, maybe 3 times, to get all of that. And I did watch like 7,000 hours of content, only his videos. And then there are Twitter Spaces. There are some other things as well. Also back from 2010, 2011. Stuff from the baby pips. I have all of that. Every single thing. That is why I studied the seconds time frame so much. Yeah, many of these copycats are doing it wrong, because they think, okay, they don't watch the content from ICT. They don't think for themselves. They just try to copy it from somewhere they heard about it. And that's not correct. That's just garbage. So I did watch every single minute. I listened every single minute of his content. And I'm going into the charts. I spent thousands of hours in the charts for just looking for these signatures in macros and timings, in price in general, in highest probability trades, in lowest probability trades. You have no idea how much time I spent into this. And that is why I am confident about finding these high probability trades. It doesn't mean I have to trade every single minute or every single 15 minutes. I'm a big fan of more quality, less quantity, but then having these trades, they immediately reward you. They have little to no drawdown, and they are very, very quick. I find the highest probability trades in terms of with most of the speed, if that makes sense. So I'm not sitting in trades where I am in a lot of consolidation, because I can understand when we might have a consolidation and when we are going to see fast price action. And if you are addicted like I am, trust me, you're not gonna stop on that, because you find more and more stuff over and over again, even though you're repeating stuff. I mean, only the thing about structure, I did a video about structure inside the VIP group, and many people might know about structure and looking for specific things in structure, but trust me, there are some simple things that you don't have in your head, or you're not aware of that. And you might be aware of that if you spend a lot of time into the charts, like I did. But most of you guys are not doing that. So many of those guys then just, I don't know, don't see things on the charts they should have seen. And then their trade becomes very low probability, but they don't see it. And then you're sitting in a lot of drawdown, or you're sitting in a lot of consolidation. And yeah, that fucks up your mentality, that fucks up your trade in general. It does not mean that if you're scalping, you have to trade every single day. It only means, for my part, if I am scalping every day, I'm looking for highest probability setups, and I am only taking those. When the foreign leaps happened, I think you were arguing with people with Raidu username. Yeah, Raidu is another username of mine. No, it's correct. Raidu is something you remembered correctly. I mostly used Raidu as a username for gaming, and I'm still using it. I also have a YouTube channel with Raidu. I'm lurking in some live streams there with that username. So I'm not using the PatekFynnip account that often. But yeah, Raidu is another name. And yeah, I was texting a lot, like for the forum leaks and stuff like that, with that username. These macros are not true because it was is written by Citino. You mean the macros from 233? I don't think I'd ever heard about that. Maybe I missed something on the Twitter Spaces. I don't know. I mean, I did not watch the recent 2 videos of him in on the YouTube. I still have to do that, but I'm not aware of the 2:33 to 3 a.m. macros. If you have a timestamp or a video about that from ICT, then let me know. I just typed ICP macros on Google and a lot of info about these time frames. Oh, okay. No, that might be some false information. Yeah, it's probably not true. I mean, there are many people who just put like anything on the internet, and they pretend to be correct within the timings and everything. Yo, Neo, thank you for being here. Have a nice day. My biggest downfall, low-key, is this discrimination when consolidating. Consolidation is about to happen and when it's gonna move. Often I enter a clean setup only to be like 10 1-minute candles in there waiting for nothing. Yeah. it needs a lot of practice. It needs a lot of deep dive into the charts to find out when it's high probability to see a big move or a quick move, and when to find a consolidation. But a rule of thumb is consolidations might happen if a high probability draw is reached, or you have slower price action. It's not like that clean anymore. Or you are trading within a consolidation, within a midpoint of something. That can be a dealing range, that can be an imbalance, that can be another PD array, right? So the midpoint is always something you refer as fair value. And if you have a new week opening gap midpoint, that's fair value. If you have a dealing range midpoint, that's fair value. And if you have something within fair value, that means you are most likely to consolidate if you're not trading into it and reject from it quickly. Because trading into a fair value and then quickly rejects with order flow, that gives you a lot of good movement. But if you are inside a fair value and it ranges for a while, that's low probability and you have to wait for another quick movement to then base again your like setup and everything. For example here, like look at NQ. This 50%, what's it coming from? And where is it coming from? It's from the daily chart, from the dealing range, from the high to the low. So we are 50% there. So it might be that we are in a fair value. So we have to wait for another condition where it either quickly runs higher towards the draw and then based on time we can find another entry. Or you simply wait for better conditions and it trades into a sales liquidity and then so on. Once again, for clarifying the real ICT macros, I think like I'm a big fan of ICT and people like thought that I'm talking shit about him or something, but that's not the case. I'm a big fan of him. He's like my second father for me. He doesn't know, but I'm listening to him like for years now and every single day. And I grab every single information from him. Every single minute, every single second he puts out into the internet, I know about it. And it's about Twitter spaces, videos, live streams, and so on. And I'm not only listening to that, I'm taking notes, I'm going into the charts. I spend a lot of hours into them and try to find out myself. It's not only copying what he says, it's looking for these signatures. It's looking for these macros, and that is why I might understand them better than others. And this knowledge I give out in the VIP group. So a lot of people are not gonna try to invest all the time into these charts, and I understand that. I spend my whole life into this right now, and I'm like addicted to that. I'm every single free time I have, free minute I have, I'm going into these charts and look for signatures. And with the market breakdowns and market reviews, trade breakdowns inside the VIP group, I try to get people into this, but with less time. So if that makes sense, I'm not trying to reteach anything. I'm just teaching the things I learned from ICT with my own experience, with digging deep into the charts myself and looking for the signatures and find out what works the best and what might be low probability and so on, right? And inside the VIP group, man, there are people who are going crazy, like Jason. Jason his understanding is on another level right now. I think he started also with pretty basic stuff, if I can remember. But right now he's going crazy with even with the seconds time frame. And not only Jason, there are many people. And I try to always teach it like to the point, no bullshit around it. And the people in the VIP group, they know that. It's not a big group, but it really feels good to have a group. Because I think for most of the people, trading is very lonely. And for me, it was for the past years. And that is why I try to get a group. Yes, sir. Jason knows. All right, so we did a lot of yapping today. Unfortunately, we did not have any more setups here in NQ or ES. But as you can see, the highest probability draw in ES, it was reached. And right after that, we had this rejection and slower price action again. And if you compare that to NQ, it does not even do anything. So knowing when to trade and knowing when to sit on the hands is very important. And let's see, what time is it? Okay. I might do a few more minutes if you have any questions, because I'm going out this evening. And I do a midweek commentary and a lecture on something inside the VIP group today, this night. And the link is in the description if you want to join. But yeah, for everyone who's gonna follow me on YouTube, I'm going to start a $1,000 challenge. I hope next week. As I said, the AMP live accounts, or AMP in general, we are currently opening up the company account. It's about taxes, why I'm not using the private account. But yeah, they are currently verifying everything. So for NQ, we still have the sell-side liquidity down here from the pre-market session. It might be something I'm looking for towards the lunch hour and PM session. And then for this week, I like the draw up here with the new week opening gap. These are the equal highs from, I think, the week before. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise I'm gonna close the stream in 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, we had a really nice talk about price action and stuff in general. Thank you, man. Much appreciated. So yeah, but yeah, I might close it here. Watch out for the sell-side liquidity down here. I don't know if I don't know if I even looked at the regular trading hours, to be honest. Let's see. Oh yeah, perfect. Well, look at this. Sell-side liquidity inside the opening range gap, and we had more than 120 handles, and we already reached a quite amount of handles to the upside as a continuation. So a draw back into the opening range gap with the sell-side liquidity is reasonable. So watch out for that. I'm going to be inside the VIP group in the PM session, probably through the phone. So I'm watching on the phone when I'm out. And for everyone, have a nice day. I hope you liked this stream. It was a lot of price action knowledge, stuff like that. And yeah, thank you for being here, man. Thank you. I have great videos in the pipeline as well. I'm just too lazy sometimes, but yeah, I should work on that. So yeah, thank you guys. I might be online tomorrow. I'm not sure yet, but I hope so. If not in the AM session, then I will be in the PM session in the last hour macro. Whoever knows. When I start the $1,000 challenge, I will let you know, and I will then stream more often. Like whenever I see a setup, whenever I see something high probability. And there can be in the Asia session, AM session, London Open, PM session. My sleep schedule is fucked anyways. So yeah. Whenever I see something high probability, I go live. And that's it for me for today. And I wish you have a great evening or a great morning, wherever you are. And I will talk to you tomorrow or in the PM session for the VIP group.